At Savannah Industries, a man walks in, looking uneasy. He nervously says, "Sir, I must say this course of action is severe, even for you." Dr. Thaddeus Savannah, however, is unfazed. "The slaying of a child? I am doing no more than God Almighty has done. Instead of sending the angel of death to slaughter the firstborn, I am dispatching a highly trained tactical force to gun down a small boy." The man hesitates, trying to reason. What if this boy isn't him? What if he isn't tied to Captain Marvel in any way? Savannah shrugs casually. "Then I murdered an innocent child." Meanwhile, somewhere else, an armed military unit approaches a group of kids. One of the soldiers raises his gun, ready to fire. But one of the boys stands his ground, eyes wide with anticipation. He whispers, "Shazam!" In an instant, a flash of lightning transforms him into Captain Marvel, who jumps in front of the children just as the soldier starts shooting. The bullets bounce off his body without causing any damage. He then yells, "I don't know what you guys think you're doing, but you just made the biggest mistake of your lives." He quickly assesses the situation, thinking, "Whoa, they're wearing body armor. These guys look like pros. I thought the lightning alone would rattle them, but Hey!" He leaps into action, dismantling their guns and knocking the soldiers down one by one. But they keep coming, firing relentlessly. Captain Marvel decides to wrap things up and takes down the entire squad nice and easy. With a satisfied grin, he looks around and calls out, "Jerks. Some fun, huh, Scott? It looks like you're gonna get your wish. I'm gonna have to leave the subway. Scott? You still there, or did you take off? Hey man, Without getting any answers, Captain Marvel looks around, searching for Scott. His smile fades, his eye growing wide with horror. Scott is slumped against the wall, drenched in blood, eyes open but lifeless. At a hospital reception, two doctors are chatting quietly when Captain Marvel bursts through the doors, carrying Scott in his arms. His voice is filled with desperation as he shouts for help. "I need help! Someone please! Help!" Scott is rushed into surgery while Captain Marvel stands outside the operating room, watching in stunned silence. The shock of the situation written all over his face. At the police station, a suspect sits under interrogation by two officers. One of them leans in, breaking the news with a grim tone. "That was the hospital. The kid's dead. We found you half conscious, and your hitman buddies in the subway, surrounded by witnesses that say you tried to gun down Captain Marvel and hit that kid." The officer emphasizes that they already have evidence and advises the suspect to confess. Outside the room, other officer shakes his head, adding, "He's never gonna talk. The guy doesn't exist. No records, no prints. He's a top-tier murder-for-hire spook. We should just kick it to the feds." But the other officers aren't so sure. Suddenly, the sound of something smashing interrupts their debate. It's Captain Marvel. He storms into the station, ignoring the officers trying to hold him back. He barges into the interrogation room, shattering the table with one blow. Furious, he grabs the suspect, slams him to the ground, and pins his head against the floor. "Who hired you?" Captain Marvel demands. The officers draw their guns, yelling at him to back off, but Captain Marvel doesn't relent. His voice drops. "Tell me now, or I'll crush your head. Then I'll walk downstairs to the holding cell and ask your partners. I'll bring your dead headless body with me, and then they'll tell me. So, for the last time, who hired you?" Over at Savannah Industries, Dr. Thaddeus Savannah is angry. "Bunch of imbecilic, brain-damaged, incompetent hayseeds. I should have just sent a chimpanzee on roller skates with 30 pounds of C4 strapped to its back." His assistant tries to defend their choice. "Sir, they were absolutely the best that money could buy." Their argument is cut short when the assistant's eyes widen in horror. Savannah turns to see Captain Marvel hovering outside the window, glaring at them. With a single punch, Captain Marvel shatters the glass on the entire floor, sending shards flying. He grabs Savannah by the throat, lifting him off the ground effortlessly. Savannah panics, gasping. Please, I'll give you anything. Captain Marvel's eyes are cold as he replies, You don't have anything that I want, except... He pauses, letting the word hang in the air. Your life. Savannah begs for mercy, but Captain Marvel is consumed by rage and grief over Scott's death. He tightens his grip, watching as Savannah's eyes roll back and drool drips from his lips. I know if I let go, you're just going to keep hurting, keep murdering people. I'm not sure I can live with that. But in a moment of hesitation, Captain Marvel releases him. Savannah collapses to the floor, coughing violently. Still gasping for air, he turns to his assistant. Mr. Tan, I'm going to need transportation out of town. Immediately. Mr. Tan nods quickly. Yes, sir. I'll have them gas up the jet. But Savannah shakes his head, wheezing. No flying. I'm going to have to run away on the ground. At the Daily Planet office, Lois shows Clark the cover of the newspaper. The headline is about Captain Marvel's attack on the Savannah Tower and the police station. Lois comments, Seems as if Superman's new running buddy went off the reservation. And you want to guess who has a contact inside the Fawcett City PD? I've got a first-hand account of old Cappy busting up a whole squad. Too bad he still wasn't in Fawcett with the big red cheese. Clark looks puzzled. Yeah, too bad. On Mount Everest, Superman spots Captain Marvel sitting on a rocky ledge, his head buried in his hands. As he approaches, Superman's voice is stern. Sir, you are going to have to account for your actions. You attacked a police station, assaulted a prisoner. You destroyed the entire top floor of an office building. You crossed the line tonight and placed innocent civilians and law enforcement officers in danger. Superman's words trail off as he sees the devastation in Captain Marvel's eyes. I know. It's all my fault. Trying to piece it together, he asks, Are you okay? As Captain Marvel cries, he says, No, I didn't mean to. I was just so angry. So, I just can't believe he's gone. Scott. Superman remembers that name. It's the boy from the hospital emergency room. Captain Marvel continues, his voice breaking. Yeah, it's my fault. It's my fault that he got killed. Superman tries to comfort him. I'm sure you did everything you could. But Captain Marvel cuts him off. You don't understand! They were after me, and they shot Scott! He was my best friend! And now, he's dead. I got my friend killed! Superman is stunned, trying to reconcile the idea of this grown man calling a child his best friend. Captain Marvel steps back, wiping his tears, and takes a deep breath. Yeah, I guess that seems pretty weird. It's okay. I'll show you. Stand back. Superman looks on, puzzled. Then, Captain Marvel says a single word. Shazam. In a flash of lightning, Captain Marvel is gone, replaced by a small boy. My name's Billy Batson, but maybe it's too dangerous to be Billy Batson anymore. Then, Superman, in a serious tone, asks, Who did this to you? At the Rock of Eternity, Wizard Shazam stands tall. You are here as a courtesy. I expect to reciprocate my generous boon in... But Superman interrupts, furious. What have you done? He's a little boy. You did this to a little boy. What is wrong with you? He's a child. His life shouldn't be about this. Little boys go to school, play with their friends, and go to bed at night. Their biggest concern should be homework and schoolyard crushes, not if their best friends are going to be murdered by assassins. But the wizard Shazam remains calm. It is his fate to bear the mantle. Superman argues, "Do not talk to me about fate. All of you people of magic, you sorcerers, all your talk about fate and destiny. This is wrong. No boy should have the responsibility of the world on his shoulders. It is a fate chosen by men. He's just a boy." The wizard looks at Superman, his expression softening. He is a boy who could use guidance. Back in the city, Clark Kent walks through a rundown neighborhood, climbing the stairs of a decrepit building. He reaches a small, dingy room and finds Billy sitting alone. "You actually live here?" Clark asks, looking around. Billy asked if he was from social services. Clark quickly assured him he wasn't. To prove it, he loosened the tie on his suit and unbuttoned his shirt, and revealed the iconic S symbol underneath. Billy's eyes widened in shock. Superman then sat down beside him on the floor and began to speak. "My real name is Clark. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to this channel."